MCN 91.7 FM. We are super excited to have Dashed in studio. Welcome.
Hello. Thank you.
Hi. I'll start by, we've got Mike and Alan. Well, I have you each introduce yourself and just start with, how did you get involved in music? This is your first introduction. How did you get hooked into music personally?
I'm Mike. I play the drums in Dashed, and honestly, my parents are in a bluegrass band, so I didn't really have a choice.
That's awesome.
They would practice in our in our living room since I can remember. So I would go to sleep to the sounds of bluegrass in my house.
Did you get dragged to like county fairs?
Oh yeah, all the stuff.
Were you one of the pulled up on stage and now we'll see?
No, they didn't pull me up there. I was like playing in the dirt, and it's like bluegrass and camping are kind of hand in hand.
Yeah.
So I was doing my own thing, like playing in a river or like jumping in a pool, playing video games. But I do like bluegrass, so
I do
it
too.
really
Yeah,
stuck.
I genuinely like it. I think it's fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds pretty awesome. My dad was a software engineer. That wasn't as much fun.
Oh yeah, and then hi, my name's Alan. I'm the bass player and vocalist in Dashed, and gosh, my story is very similar to Mike's. Which is weird. So my dad played in rock bands his whole life. Still, I bet he's at band practice right now. And he, I grew up with him playing bass guitar and some like cover bands and original music, but you kind of always had band practice in the basement, the house I grew up in, and then I have an identical twin brother, so when we got to like rock and roll age, like in our teens, he played drums and I played bass. We started our first band and played all the junior high dances, and
that is awesome.
Yeah, and you know, when your dad has all the gear,
yeah,
and, like he's ready to set up the PA, like whatever basement show that we're having, you know, in the suburbs of Chicago where I grew up. Like it was cool. So it you know, like I also remember playing in rivers and in the dirt, like while my dad's like, you know, playing at some cool like outdoor festival or something, and me not giving not caring slightly, you know, but that's what kind of kids do until then all of a sudden your dad's the coolest and you get to play music.
That is nice.
Yeah.
That is nice. Yeah. Not that my dad isn't cool. I'm not saying that by any stretch of the imagination. There's a chance he's listening. I did walk 3 miles with him today. He's very cool now. But he was not in a band. Like, what is it like to be like? I mean, it comes inherently with having some coolness in high school, I bet.
Just being in a band.
Just
cool?
Your dad. Were just with having a cool dad?
Yeah.
I'm not trying to mac on your dads, but just wondering what it's like.
No, I mean, I know that like whatever you like. High school was so weird for me because I was like, playing in rock bands, but then somehow I was like in the musical, and somehow I was like playing soccer and doing all that stuff, and like I think that's like another value I learned from my dad was that I was like always doing stuff, and
nice.
He was always doing stuff, and so like I don't know, it was neat kind of growing up and having like all these things to do, and I think that's a testament to all of us in the band now. We're all very busy. We're all still playing rock and roll.
Yeah.
Well, I kind of segue to asking you to tell us a little bit about Dash and how you all got together, and feel free to introduce your members in absentia.
Sure. Tony is not here. He's the guitar player, and Kent is the bass, or the other guitar player.
I'm the bass player, yeah.
Yeah, you're the bass player. They're not here, but we kind of broke off from a different band. A band called Holler House, and that was a band for like 10 years. We were kind of like looking back, maybe it was 8, but that band didn't quite make it through the pandemic. It was kind of that reset that everyone had, where you kind of look at what you're doing and cut things out and add things, and so Holler House didn't make it through the pandemic, but this is kind of an offshoot of that. It's some of it is similar musically, but the members changed. Just one member changed. Yeah, so I guess we started in 2021. We kind of were noodling, and when you couldn't hang out with each other, we were passing like tracks and recording at home, and then we would have like a bonfire and trade music and kind of, trade ideas outside, and then this kind of became a band after that in 2021, I think.
I think what was really cool about like getting this band together as well was that, it was kind of like our last band was more of a COVID casualty, but like we knew that we still wanted to play music together. And like I think all of the projects that we've ever been in, even like outside of this band, like independently, like we would play with each other's bands all the time. Mm-hmm. And it would be silly to not reference a local band in town here called Lovely Dark, who are some of our closest friends. And 3 of the 4 of us were members of Lovely Dark.
Okay.
And so we kind of always have had like this really solid group of friends that were also musicians, that were also, creatives. We were often, inspired from each other. And so like Tony, one of our guitar players, and me were in Lovely Dark for several years, and I replaced Kent, who plays guitar in Dashed. I replaced him when he was in Lovely Dark, and so it's kind of like a cool little circle of friends. And then even when Mike and I were in Holler House with Tony, we did a split release, like a 10-inch split album with a band called Technician. And Technician has members from Lovely Dark, 2 members that are currently in Lovely Dark, actually. But one of those members is in Rad Owl as well, and Align. Yeah. And then one of those members is Conrad, who's also in Lovely Dark, but is in Self-Evident. And I guess the drummer of Lovely Dark is in Self-Evident. So, like, just so many local bands. And then, of course, Kent was in Technician, and so we pulled him over. Yeah, we have a wealth of cool musicians in our circle. Nice. So that was really fun to start a band feeling confident that we had players and people that we wanted to perform with.
And I was trying to remember if Lovely Dark has been in studio. I mean, you would know if you had been here.
Well, I haven't been here, yeah. But I wonder if it could have been a while. Like, Lovely Dark's been a band for over a decade, for sure.
And I remember the gorgeous art from the album. Yeah. That is, I mean, it just, just visually, yeah.
Yeah.
I do remember doing it. Sometimes we do email interviews, so I can't remember which it was at this point, but yeah.
Yeah, it's so funny that, because Lovely Dark is a totally different direction of music that we all enjoy and enjoy playing, and it's just not the kind of loud surf music that we play.
No, it's a lot more ethereal and kind of just. Yeah. I remember there's like a mythology or storybook quality to the, and I'm moving my hands like they swirls because the music kind of swirls. Yeah. That's the test I'm going to pass on it at this point. But well, it is fun to hear how all of the bands influence each other and in swap partners like that. I mean, I think that's fun to see.
Yeah.
It even goes way back. Like, I'm from Fargo, and your bands would come to town and play Ralph's. This is like mid-2000s, and some of those people are still around, like swapping members and, making new projects.
And building our guitars for us.
Yeah.
Nice.
We're old friends with Jake Swager, who runs Minneapolis Instrument Company, and they make guitars locally, and we play them, and it's cool. And they were old friends from back in the mid-2000s that we'd tour with and all that. And now they're in a band called Deepfakes. We share a practice space with them. The circles are very small. We've been around, it turns out, yeah.
But that is how, that's how you build a scene, but it's how you build an industry. It's how, when, as you say, all of a sudden the guitar makers are here and the producers are here, and it just lifts everybody up to a level that is kind of where we are. People will talk about the golden age of the 80s in Minneapolis. And I'm sure one of us in the room remembers it. But I think the music now is at least as good. You know, I mean, it's to a whole new level. It's fantastic.
It's always been an awesome destination for music. Yeah.
Should we play one of your songs?
Sure.
What would you like us to?
Well, I think like our single is Grenadine, but we swear in it. So
I have a radio version of it.
I put it in the thing, but we could start with Did We and then find Grenadine later.
I'm looking at my technician here, working on the computer.
We can do either because they're both on.
Okay.
They're both.
Spotify, and there's
Well-
no E. There's no little E.
For the explicit, is there?
We definitely swear in Grenadine.
Okay.
Well, now that you said that, we
Oh
better
wait,
do
there
it.
is a small E. I missed it. Okay, we're not playing that one. Okay, we'll play Did We?
Yeah.
That's the one you said?
Yes.
Okay, let's do that one.
Did we? By Dashed. Who we have in studio?
There you go.
Okay. And now this obviously is still going, but
Okay.
in the radio they get. So if you're gonna swear, do it now.
I'll try to be really nice about it.
What can you say? Shit,
Yeah,
but you can't say that.
it's true. Like the F-bomb and up.
And
That other one.
I thought F-bomb was like the one. That's the one.
Well, what's
no, it gets worse.
I lived in Dublin for years. There's much worse. And of course, it's nothing over there, you know. Tried to stop a 4-year-old from saying something. Like, no, not in front of grandma. Wait, what suburb of Chicago?
I grew up in the northwest suburbs, so it's a town called Fox River Grove, but it's by like Crystal Lake, Cary, Barrington, Palatine. Those are like the
Barrington.
clubs of
Palatine
towns.
rings a bell. When
Yeah.
I was for a while, we lived in Arlington Heights.
So we're just like 2 suburbs west of
Okay.
Arlington Heights. Yeah, that's where my grandma, my grandma, well, my dad grew up in Des Plaines, which is the town,
Yep.
one closer to Chicago.
I have
than Arlington Heights.
my sister lives in Glenview now.
Got it.
So
Yeah,
I-
I know.
You were there.
I was.
Yep.
Yeah.
But we moved, I think, when I was like 4th grade.
Yeah, I like it better here.
Do you?
Yeah, the Chicago. You lived in Chicago
I did.
proper for a long time. But I was like the suburban kid that would take the train
Yeah.
and try
That's a
and-
different.
and struggle to skateboard and try and like, I just try and feel like that city kid, and I just like it didn't work.
I feel whenever people leave Chicago for here, I'm like blows my mind. Like, why would you do that? Like,
Even in 4th grade, I was so annoyed. But my family's really from here.
yeah.
You know, everyone else is born here, and but you can do more here because it's not overwhelming.
Yeah,
Especially
it's
at
true.
night. Like when you've got 25 great bands playing, too much to think about.
Yeah.
So where did you live in Chicago?
I lived in Logan Square.
Okay.
So I grew up in Fargo and then went
Moved
to
to-
Chicago after college, and then came here. And I feel like it was just inevitable. I was trying to delay coming to Minneapolis as long as I could,
Is
but
that funny?
here I am, and it's cool. It's great.
Yeah.
And it's maybe I don't know. It's just different than Chicago. You can't really compare it, but
No.
it's good. It's a manageable size. You can have a yard and stuff.
Well,
So-
you can bank on knowing how long it's going to take you to get from A to B in a car.
Yeah.
That's what did my head in. We're going to leave and give ourselves 3 hours, but it may only be 20 minutes, you know.
For sure. We're close to the end of this I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that was Did We by Dashed. Who we have in studio? Mike and Alan. Welcome.
Yes,
Hello.
thanks.
Hello again.
Yeah, yeah. What is your process for creating songs now? Tell us
This is
what
for
about the
you,
birth
Alan.
of Did We?
I
Yeah.
like how you said "Did we" as a question.
Oh.
Kind of like, did we? Like, that was, did we?
How did we even name that song?
I'm not sure.
Gosh, I think it started with the name and then we wrote the lyrics. But we're weird. I don't know if we're weirder than other bands as far as writing songs, but we've had we like when this band came together. I don't know. There's something about us finally deciding like we just want to play the music we like to listen to, and we're not trying to like post-COVID. We're just trying to be ourselves now instead of trying to wedge ourselves into a scene that's like noisy or punk or whatever, I think we were interested in. So like when Dashed came together and we started writing those first songs, we were very surf inspired. We still very much are. Our guitar player Tony and Ken for that matter are they just like to noodle that way, and I'm like, let's do it. And all of our favorite bands are kind of come from this like noisier San Diego scene. We reference Swami Records quite a bit, and John Marisa runs that label, and he's in bands like Rocket from the Crypt and Hot Snakes, and we've just been such big fans of that, and seeing how like they're doing that different thing and people are listening. So we were like, let's be brave and write some noisy surf songs.
Yeah.
And then we go to our practice space and we hash it out. Lyrically, that's probably the last thing to come together.
Yeah.
But we kind of go all over the place lyrics. Like you write a lot of lyrics, Mike.
I mean, a handful. And as a drummer, I think that's really rare.
Yeah, I think so.
I have a lot of notebooks, and I always have a pen on me, and I have random thoughts and kind of jot them down, and that does turn into things sometimes. Yeah. But also, like, Kent and Tony, they record things, like, they just have all these riffs just on a hard drive somewhere, and one just happened the other day.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's random, and it's happens in the moment, but I think they've spent a lot of time like writing.
Got it in the back pocket, just waiting for that opportunity.
And then they bring them out to the band when it feels right. And then we all do contribute to it, and we noodle and we change it tons of times, which I think is pretty normal for a band.
Yeah, we're all dads bored while our kids are trying to sleep, or So I think that's where Kent and Tony come in, and they're just quietly recording riffs in the basement and bring them to practice. But yeah, then we, a lot of the lyrics that we write are, kind of, I think they're brought out from like life experience. A lot of us have like gone through several phases of our lives, and we feel inspired by that, and so a lot of our topics are about messy things, relationships, and or like not messy things like relationships, and or like growing older, having more responsibilities, those types of things, and we just kind of slap it to our loud like noodling.
Yeah,
I guess. Yeah. Yeah.
What's interesting is that you're kind of doing it all the time.
Yeah.
Is that 10,000 hours by, minute by minute, anytime you get a little bit of time, jot something down or do a riff or...
It is really silly how many lyrics are, like, and it's a cliche probably, but how much, like, when I'm, like, in the shower, I'm like, I can, my brain's, like, finally firing in a way where I feel like, I can, like, hum a melody to myself in my, like, to a, thing in my head or whatever. Yeah, so it's silly, but when my brain finally stops, I can like actually write music or whatever. Yeah,
it's funny, but it's one of those things where when you're taking a shower, You can't like driving. You can only drive. You're taking a shower. You really can only take a shower. Yeah. Driving, you have to pay attention and think about it. Showering, most of us have nailed it by now. Yeah. So that's where your mind can wander, and you're just.
Driving, that's when a lot of things come to me.
Yeah,
I don't know why. I've had to pull over and just like jot things down. Yeah, for sure.
That's impressive. That's impressive that it has happened and that you actually pulled over.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure there's, people.
Safety first.
Yep, that's good.
I'll maybe
That's
like
good.
talk into my phone.
Right.
Like speak notes, but
Do you still go to Fargo? Do you still have family in Fargo? Or are you doing
do.
that long drive?
My parents are in Fargo, and we just played there, and we try to go back once a year. Holler House would go once a year, and now Dashed is, I think, started that tradition. We just played, and we're going back in the summer, and it's always fun. It's changed a lot. It's a lot cooler than it was when I was there.
See, I remember it
Why are you shaking your
differently.
head?
I have spent a lot of time in Fargo. My best friend is from there, so
Okay.
a lot of
Yes.
drinking
Shout out to
night.
Jenny.
Yeah, shout out Jenny. A lot
With
of
Fargo. And
shout out
Drunk Night.
Dempsey's. Shout out Drug Pizza next door. Yeah, no,
Yeah,
it's like Des
everyone
Moines.
has
Not for
Fargo
me.
stories. No, it's not?
Not for me.
Well, I appreciate it. I've come
Fair.
to terms with my hometown, and I think it's cool.
Fair.
Well, I know,
And
like
I-
Nice.
It was a good place to grow up.
as a rock and roll visitor, so like that's a lot of the ways how Mike and I met you in Chicago, but then my old band used to play with your old band a lot in Fargo.
Complicated.
It's very complicated. There's a lot of going back and forth, but the Fargo nights.
There's a lyric, my old band and your old
Yeah,
band.
right. Write that down in your notebook. But it's one of those things where like going to Fargo always felt like we're going to Fargo. We're gonna drink a lot.
Yeah.
Someone's guitar's going through a wall. I mean, we have all those stories. It's a lot. Sitting in dumpsters and it's just
Climbing buildings.
climbing buildings. It's and I don't know what about Fargo brings out that side of us, but it's nice to have that adjacent.
Yes.
No, those were when we were all in our 20s or your teens or whatever, but like we were. It's different now. But when we go back to Fargo, we have a lot of fun still.
Yeah.
But like all of us in Dash are not from Minneapolis, or not
No,
from.
we're not.
We're all are not even from the state. So Mike's from Fargo. I'm from Chicagoland. Tony's from like the Appleton area in Wisconsin.
Oh, Wisconsin?
And then Kent is from Winnipeg.
Oh,
And so we always had maybe this like desire to like do like a hometown tour where we
Yeah.
that would be...
go in a big circle. It'd be fun.
That's-
But we gotta get all that energy and make all those
do
contacts
it.
in those towns.
I want to
first.
play Winnipeg.
Yeah.
I love Winnipeg.
I love Winnipeg. I love Winnipeg. I 2 daughters who went to college there.
Yeah.
We would
Okay.
most of my time spent in Fargo has been spent
On the way to Winnipeg.
picking them up at 2 a.m. in the morning because that's as far as the bus went,
Oh.
Oh wow.
and just leave them. And when I say bus stop, it's really some convenience store that's now closed
Oh,
at 2
God.
a.m. Yeah, but yeah. I the problem is getting across the border right now
Well,
because I was
now-
trying to plan to go to Vancouver with the same daughter.
Yeah.
But it's the murals,
Yeah.
and really I've seen some good music there. And
Mhm. It's another really great music town.
talk to us about what it's like to be in the Minneapolis. We talked a little bit about mashing everything, but what sonically, like what's different in Minneapolis that is seeping into your music, or what of Chicago and what of Fargo are you bringing to the cities? How is it all meshing together? Because I think that's part of the secret sauce.
I don't know if it's a sound. I think it's more of like ethics. It's like
Ooh,
treating people nice, responding to, show asks, and taking your stuff off the stage quickly, and just like things that I thought were normal aren't.
yeah.
Like just that ethics of being in a band and treating people nice and doing your job and doing it efficiently.
I like that answer. I do. I mean, I think that there's kind of an ethos in the Midwest where we're get your stuff done, get off. I mean, whatever you're doing, it's just.
I have to tell a really quick story. We were in Milwaukee playing a cafe.
They love this story.
I won't say the band, but we were the third band.
We booked the show.
And
It was a cool
the
room.
drummer,
Yeah.
like, didn't take his stuff off. He started eating a sandwich.
Oh,
Like the
He
honey.
got
Oh,
late
honey.
dinner and was eating a sandwich.
Like
with
behind
his
his
stuff on stage, and we were next, and people were like leaving, just It's like this guy's eating a sandwich and not taking down his drums.
Oh,
So that's like the
oh.
epic. We reference that a lot.
Well,
And
Eating
you
a
all were too
sandwich.
Midwestern
He
to
was
go up
like-
and say, "Get off the stage."
He was like
You
so
need a New York
dopey
friend.
about it too. It was like he literally put down his drumsticks
Oh,
and picked up a sandwich, and we were like, "What is going on?" Like we gotta keep the show moving, you know. But I mean, that's the ultimate
It's the
example of how things
Don't
don't,
do that.
always work.
Drummers, take your stuff off the stage.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a really cool part of Minneapolis and like Midwest connections, is that people like remember you and value you and like want to hear about your next project. Or I mean, we have so many friends that have bands that ended, you know, or venues that closed, and then all of a sudden the next wave comes in and people remember. It's like, oh, you're from that one band. Let's get you up here. We'll get you a date, or like a band's like, oh, I remember you guys. Let's like get a show together. It feel maybe that's crosses borders and cities and stuff like that. But Minneapolis has always felt like that town. Like we have 20. We have relationships that are 20 years old with bands that still want to play with us, and they're making better music than they've ever made. And we're like, wow, look at all of us growing together and being this cool scene. And certainly the youngsters in the scene too are very cool, and we're meeting all of them slowly as well. But,
that's great.
I think it's a really great time for Minneapolis.
Yeah.
Too. Like, there's been this reset, which was COVID, and these new venues popped up, like Cloudland and Zora Darling, like. And they have a house kit, like that was unheard of. Like, to have like an 810 cab that you don't have.
I don't have to
haul.
bring my bass cabinet around anymore, which is like, I always joke is like the coffin I'll be buried in, my 810 cab that's like taller than me, and now it's a 610 cab. It's a little smaller now because
A little bit.
can't carry it the way I used to, but I don't, at least downstairs and stuff. But yeah, it's like cool. We can just show up with our gear and like, again, be efficient, take our gear down real quick and be ready to support the band after us or whatever. And yeah, support that venue that way and like not be complicated. Yeah.
Well, it seems like there's also a wide range of venues, both in terms of different genre, different ethos and stuff. But there's some that are great if you've never played before, and I think it's very important to have those places. You know, up to a First Avenue, you know, that would be, or the Orpheum, or the Dakota, or, you know. But I just think that there's something for everyone.
Yeah.
And a lot of those places, it's something different for everyone, different every other night.
We were talking about that earlier today, where we were like, yeah, there are a lot of rooms in town that new bands can like, you know, we'll get some inquiries from new bands that's saying like, hey, we got a date on a Tuesday night in the middle of, you know, St. Paul, and we're like, oh, we might not be able to help bring people. That's like not you know, place that we know that we can like show up and guarantee that folks will come, but like, let's play the show together, you know. And but it's really cool that like we get this. We're calling ourselves a new band. Maybe we shouldn't. We're 3 years old.
We should probably stop saying
Yeah.
band.
We have a new album, our first album, but like we consider ourselves new, and so we're still like learning these new rooms and playing with these new bands that have just started, and it's cool that they're giving us a shot, and the venues are giving them a shot, and we're kind of feeling it all out together. Yeah.
Well, and I think that gets to something you had said earlier. It's post-COVID.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so many venues are new, so many have changed, and many the rules have changed in a good way.
Yeah,
I think so.
It feels like it's leveling up. Like it feels like bands are showing up differently, rooms are showing up differently, and even like the way like, you know, folks are like taking cool videos and photos, getting that kind of attention, and it's nice. It's nice. It feels like folks are looking in at the music scene differently than they did, and I don't know.
And they're trying harder. Like everyone's trying more.
Yeah.
I think you're right. I mean, I think that's a good point. And you do have people who who write amazing reviews, like Langan, or have rate a show or have different things in. So you feel like you're more a part of the scene than, you could write a newsletter, be sending it over to your, walking it over to your neighbors.
Yeah.
Which is, so it's.
Well, and I just, gosh, we were playing music 10 years ago, and it just kind of like, sometimes it felt hard to like start connections, or sometimes it felt hard to get like that photographer out, or get that newspaper to write anything, or whatever. And I just feel like media is just different in general.
Yeah.
Right now, and I think people are leaning into a scene that is just like we're more aware of. Like, I don't think I've ever been more aware of so many bands, or so like in town. It's like, look at all these cool bands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of focus. At the current Big KFI as well. The best new bands or the best bands this month and that, which is great because that is a way to get to meet a lot of bands you wouldn't otherwise see.
But even more grassroots, you have Gravy doing Undercurrent.
Oh,
what
yes,
Gravy has done for the
you.
scene is incredible.
Yeah.
And then you can even take it a step further and Front Row Paul, him posting his little rundown. And
Yeah.
I mean, there's people out there that just do it because they want to. They want people to know.
Well, and especially not to Front Row Paul, who's a good friend of mine. You see, when he would show a live video, I'd be like, all right, I'm going up to the Turf Club. I know he's there. And you're like, I know I'll have a pail there. And the friendlier it gets, the more you go, I'll have a pail. That'll be good.
Yeah.
Should we, this conversation is going so well, but should we play some more music?
Sure.
So
What's
one that we should play that we don't highlight so much? Elephant?
Oh, yeah, we never play that.
Push
I mean,
that one.
not that this is
Well, Elephant's
like
probably
this
our
happens
favorite.
all the time.
Well, so like Elephant's probably our favorite song to play. It's usually the last song of our set, and it's like one of our more energizing songs. And it's usually not the one we lead with because I don't know why.
because then you'd be tired coming from me.
It is hard to play.
It is,
last, actually,
But maybe that's a fun one. It's it's the last song.
I like the idea of leaving it on top at the end of a show because then you leave with some energy to leave. And I think that's a good.
Okay. Well, what's another good one?
Well, we can play what Elephant sounds.
Oh yeah, if you'd like to,
I don't care.
Let's go with Elephant.
Well, while you're deciding, I'm going to remind folks that they're listening to Mostly Minnesota Music on WMCN 91.7 FM in St. Paul, and we have Dashed in studio. And drum roll, what shall we play?
Let's play the Elephant. Thumbs up.
Let's do it.
I was nodding.
As I'm sure you guys have to do that every certain amount of time.
Oh sure. Yeah, that makes sense.
So how many songs do you play by the band you're interviewing?
Depends how it goes.
Okay. Because we could go, I don't know if you want to talk about the show, or we have like a record release shows with like old friends.
We definitely
Oh,
want
yeah.
to talk
And we
about
could
it.
play,
Yeah.
We could play a Lutheran Youth
The 19th?
song.
Is that the
Yeah.
couple?
Yeah.
All right, so let's
but
talk
maybe
about that
that's,
next.
Like,
We'll
later. I don't know. I think Tight Lips has a lot of stuff up too.
But like, would you recommend that we like pick some music from those bands that we're playing with, or
That
would you
would
like
be-
to focus more?
No,
on
that would be a generous thing to do. It's whatever. There are no rules. It's college rated. The only rule: no drinks, no F-bombs,
I would
or
like
worse.
to play a Holler House song just for fun, because we never got to like literally the world shut down on like the Friday we released our record,
Oh, then let's
and we
absolutely.
never got to do anything with it.
Okay.
What would you?
I
play?
want to play Running. That's like,
Running?
and then I think Lutheran Heat is fun too, because do you know them?
Yeah.
Because Garth was in Holler House.
Okay.
So that's kind of the
Yeah.
other big connection with that show and COVID and why we exist.
Yeah, like
Is Garth
Garth.
part of it?
Garth's story is like, I mean, he was in Holler House with us, and then when COVID happened, he opened a brewery, and it happened to be a brewery, let's say, that third precinct, like maybe.
They were literally
Went on
next
fire.
door to
So.
Oh,
like,
so was he just a few doors down from there?
yeah,
They all,
Arbiter.
oh,
So
yeah,
Garth
yeah,
Albert
yeah,
They were
yeah,
on
yeah.
their
So he-
rooftop,
okay.
like-
He was a pretty stressed out fella, and he's like, I just don't think I can rejoin the band with you guys. Then so when the time came for us to start stuff back up, we kind of like, we're like, all right, Garth, well, we still have Lutheran Heat if you want that. And he started that back up, and we went on with Dash, and now like the show feels cool.
Nice.
Because we're like,
Nice.
oh, we get to get back together
Alright.
with that group. But yeah, I don't know, it'd be fun to play a Lutheran Heat song.
Yeah.
All right. So we'll be a little snappier getting to each song.
Yes. Is
It doesn't.
hard-
There's nothing.
Yeah, maybe
It's
think
Lutheran.
about the next song that you want to do for or the last
Oh,
song.
I just meant less than me asking so many questions.
Sure. I mean,
Sure,
I
we're
mean-
talkers too. So
Well, no, which is awesome. But I also want people to hear the music.
yeah.
So that's
I
what you
think
got
we
to
should
stop
pick
me.
Grenadine just because it's like the same.
we'll do that.
We have Dashed in studio.
Hello.
Welcome, Mike and Alan. Yeah, you have a show coming up. Tell us about the big release.
We do. April 19th, we're playing at Cloudland with good friends Lutheran Heat and Tight Whips. And it's a record release party show.
Yep.
I say party, but
I
just
do
a
too,
show.
yeah.
We're gonna.
It's gonna be a
A
party.
party show.
And I think Lutheran Heat is releasing their record too. The
Oh,
same night.
awesome.
They've been sitting on one for quite a while, and I think they're officially making that their record release as well. So Cloudland is very close to my house, which is nice.
Very nice.
But it's
Very
also
nice.
an awesome venue, and we're excited to play that room
It is, and hopefully
with friends.
April 19th will feel like spring, and then that back patio will feel good too.
Hopefully, yeah.
Yeah.
We'd love that.
It's the night before 420
Yeah.
and Easter, so it's a lot of things.
And there are a crazy number of shows happening that whole
Really?
weekend. Yeah, it's I don't know what it is. Sometimes it just I always say if there's one awesome thing in the Twin Cities, there are 18.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
but I think that'll be. How did you decide on that venue, that time, or
We played there twice. We just love the room, and they've
Yeah,
been
we saw you
really
there.
good to us in the past. And the other room of note would be Zora Darling. But Cloudland feels a little more intimate, a little more tight. So, not that we can just pick a room anytime we want either, but we did kind of pick that
that's awesome.
general time frame, and it worked out. So I'm excited for it for sure.
It coincided with the pressing of our record as well, which it might be 2 weeks that we've like officially like launched our record, but we're gonna like party on it on the 19th of April. But we used a local pressing company called Out of Wax, and we'd love to shout them out a little bit because they worked really hard for us, and we wanted to pick a date that like we knew the records would be like ready for and looking good and sounding good, and we're glad we secured Cloudland for that because our records are finally they're done and they're awesome.
And it was tricky, like trying to time it out, like because we recorded over a year ago, and that's the trick with bands is
Yep.
there's this so much time before you can actually put out your stuff. And I guess we could have just throw it on the internet, the day after it was done, but we like to
We're old
have a
fashioned.
physical object and celebrate it.
I mean,
So,
that really to have an album in your hands, it's got to be a great feeling.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Well, and especially like Mike's our designer and did all the design work on the album cover. Again, we have friends who help us. We went to Minnehaha Recording Company.
Nice.
And Tony there is a good friend and did wonders recording and mastering our record. And then we just have like friends and resources and all these cool things to help us get the record going. Like people at record stores who want to scoop us up and sell our album. And so it's just been really nice to we put a lot of work into it, and it's cool when you have that final product.
I think it's fun that the whole like circle of producing this all happened in South Minneapolis. It's
That's
like,
yeah.
From the recording to the pressing to the show, it's all like within a mile of each other, which is pretty cool, I think.
It is what makes the music scene better. When you don't have to ship it off somewhere else to have it happen. You know, and you can build a relationship. When you build a relationship with somebody, they care more about, oh, that album cover is it's 2% off here. Fix it for them. We're gonna see them at the grocery store. Fix it for them. You know, I mean, I just think that there's something to be said about.
It's really true. Like
Yeah.
we run into these people at our own shows or at their shows or whatever.
I
all the
was at
time.
Ace Hardware
Yeah.
buying like a garden hose, and I saw Tony Williamette buying like a clamp for a microphone, like some like clamp that he needed
Yeah.
at that moment. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's true.
And isn't there always a little, even if it's someone you know, there's a cheap thrill where you're like, ooh.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, like, oh, well, that person was at Kowalski's. You know, I mean, you know, just like, oh, it's fun to see that person.
Well, I think it speaks volumes about the scene. Like we're going back to it. It's like look at all these people we've met, all these folks that like want to retain a friendship, and whether it, like a professional relationship, and also like hey, we get to let's drink some beers together. You know,
Yeah.
It's very nice.
All right, I am on a mission that
You
folks who are only listening on the radio don't know, because I'm going to get to play more songs. What song do you want us to play next? And
Did
Am
you
I?
queue up anything?
Yeah.
Or?
I have Lutheran Heat pulled up right now.
Let's do it.
Yeah, we
Any particular song?
Yeah, that one about the moon on there.
Outer
Second-
Space?
Yeah, Outer Space.
Okay.
This is for Garth if he's out there, but this is his band and we're playing with him, and he was a former member of, we played in Holler House with Garth, so, and he owns Arbeiter Brewing and good South Minneapolis.
all the ways we can show love.
all
to
the
them.
ways, and that's some mighty good beer. So,
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. All right, Lutheran Heat, let's hear it.
Hope
So it
this
gives
is-
me the gray hair that 10 seconds of not even, it's 2 seconds of silence. Like,
Oh, we're
oh, I'm wrong. Oh, I'm wrong.
we hate stepping on y'all's toes too. You
Oh.
know, like so. Hopefully, just cut us off when we're
No,
talking
no,
too
no,
much.
no, no. I just really, I mean, I do want to make, you know, because you want people to hear your music.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't.
yeah.
This song, every time I leave my house, I'm like, I got my phone, my wallet, and my keys, like I say this lyric to myself every time I leave the house.
It's cute. I love it.
That's-
I think, yeah, that's like one of those things that, like, again, just feeling like we've got cool friends that are also making great music. And, well, and I, you know, maybe we can talk about Sarah, who is in this band and pressed our record for us. You know,
Oh,
so,
yeah.
So Out of Wax, like one of the founders, is in this band too. And too many connections.
It's good.
Can't keep them all straight.
It's good.
Like, wow, we know you like 8 ways, you know, like it's funny. Do you want to play a Holler House song eventually?
Yeah.
No?
Do you? I don't know.
Yeah.
Is it
I'm
silly?
just trying to remember them.
I feel like Kent and Tony just tuned in
Yeah, they
at
are.
5 and weren't sure how this was gonna go. Like if we were
Oh
being
God,
interviewed,
sorry.
like,
It will
early or not.
archive and I'll post on the website.
Cool.
Oh, you should have said that earlier. I just said, "Oh, go
I-
take a walk and then come back at 5." Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, we
Because because I'm watching legislative stuff. I'm like, I didn't even pay attention to the 4 o'clock. I'm like, oh, just near the time. So that's on me.
That's
That's on me.
Is that your day job? Like
Yeah.
doing-
Yeah. I write about rural broadband. It's very nerdy, but it means sometimes on Sunday I have to watch anything that was semi-related to.
Huh?
Yeah.
Well, you just tell us when to start and stop, because we'll
Oh.
keep going as long as you tell us. Oh, it's 'cause I'm like, why are you getting texts from them?
You're not?
Well, I think my Wi-Fi dropped because I didn't.
Good old cricket.
Outer Space by Lutheran Heat, as recommended by Dashed, who are in studio.
Hello again.
Hello. Hello, and we wanted to talk a little bit about Sarah.
Oh, right.
I'm just going to key you up with that because
Oh,
we talked about it. Yeah.
We were just like, we were giving Garth so much love before this song. We're like, Sarah's in Lutheran Heat too, and she pressed our record from Out of Wax. So we were just like, gosh, we just know so many people so many ways, and that sounds really cocky or something. But like, really, it's just like, wow, like,
We're lucky.
We're lucky.
We've had a good run and know good people.
Yeah.
Well, and as we've said time and again, people are happy to meet other people in this community, and happy to share with information and understand that collaboration is a part of it. It's not, you don't keep your things secret, you know. You don't only play your best when it's your band. You play your best whenever it's anyone's band. And we were saying this before, like, and people show up for each other. Like, you go and see your friends play when you can, and I think that people appreciate that, and I think that Minnesotans, we're not always the loudest audience, but we're there.
It's true.
We're there, we're appreciating a little bit, so that's good. Yeah, so you're excited about the show, and while we have you here, because you've got some shows coming up after that, maybe in June.
We do. I was going to pull these up. We are playing in Fargo at Harold's.
Okay.
That's in July.
That's July. I don't have them with me.
If I had to guess, I would say June 14th at the White Squirrel.
That's
Yes.
true.
Flag Day. That's the famous Flag Day celebration that they have. Yes. There was another one too, but that's the one.
We are playing the 331, I think, the next weekend. 6/21. So the 14th and the 21st of June.
Flag Day and Summer Solstice.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Gosh,
We plan that. We plan that.
we love holidays. Yeah. Yeah, very much
Good
so.
old Flag Day.
Yep. Now I will be expecting to see some recognition of Flag Day
Huh.
when.
What could we do? We'll have to come up with something.
You're the designer, man. Yeah.
No, now I truly am curious.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, but these are, White Squirrel. We haven't played at
I've
yet.
not even been in there before.
Oh, haven't you?
No, I haven't. I'm sorry.
It has been how many hours since I was last there?
Really?
I live in St. Paul, so I
Yeah.
spent that's one of those places that I like because it's a low bar to entry. They have some amazing bands as well, but and it's free to go in.
Right.
You get tips, and it's lovely patio outside, and it's not tiny, but it's not big, so it feels like a full room.
It's tiny.
Yeah,
It's
what?
tiny.
I feel like the 331 is Minneapolis' White Squirrel.
Yes,
Or the
absolutely.
White Squirrel is St. Paul's 331.
I liked it better the first way. That's because I'm St. Paul, but yeah, that'll be and it was funny because I was there last night, and if I heard it once, I heard it, in my old band. Oh yeah, you were in that band. I mean, it was very, very young crowd, and I thought this is awesome. People just making connections all over. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're playing with home team quarterback and with that show at the White Squirrel, and then we're with Busey.
The
at the
331 is
Oh,
with
wow.
Busey, which
Wow.
I don't know how they choose when they have two drummers or not, but I don't even know how they can play at the 331 if they brought both of their drummers.
One of them will have to be on the bar. I mean, that's
Which tracks for them. They're just rowdy and awesome, and we've been friends with them for a long. Another band that our old band released music with.
We did do a split with them.
Yeah. So
that was the one that never got to be properly celebrated because it was COVID.
Yeah.
I know. So that sounds like it's a good time to cue up that song. Would you like to
Sure.
play it?
Yeah.
And tell us a little. I mean, you told us while the folks
Yeah.
were listening to music, but tell us
Well,
more.
I think I want to play "Running." It's the title track off that split 10-inch with Busey. But yeah, it was 2019 when we recorded. We recorded with a buddy in his basement, and I think they got good sounds.
Okay.
Like,
Well, and I mean, your heart just goes out to everyone who put something out February 2020.
yeah.
I mean, it just was
Nobody knew.
nobody knew. Nobody. We were. I don't know.
We were young and naive.
We were young and naive. That is a very good
different
way of
now,
putting it.
yes.
Yes. Yes. Yes. Here we go. Split.
for you.
Gosh,
Have you heard this in a while?
no. So like my focus shifted. But
I'm also noticing that this is the best logo I've ever seen in my life. This,
Oh yeah, isn't that funny?
It's
I
like-
think there's a large one in that room. You'll have to go check it out.
I'm just like, I'm seeing it everywhere. I'm like, what? You guys are doing so good.
thanks.
I'm looking at quick.
You're doing great.
Gosh, I haven't heard this song in so long. Okay, anyways. Being nostalgic. Thanks for letting us play some
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
random tracks.
Well, and the beauty of starting early is you guys can talk as long. I suppose like at 5:30 maybe we'll start. I mean, or before if you want. It's totally up to you.
I think 5:30 is a good target.
Okay. Because then we will play a couple. We have
Yeah.
a few things we have
Well, we
to.
could leave you guys alone
Yeah.
at that point. Yeah.
Here's the funny thing. This is me. I try to get the kids to do civic engagement, political stuff, so I leave notes.
Oh, that's great.
I can see nobody took any.
Nobody took any of
Yeah,
them. Yeah,
perfect.
yeah.
Already addressed to Donald Trump.
Wow.
I'll leave it there. We'll see. That's where I'm watching on top of it.
This is back when our. Oh gosh.
I love this song. We joked about trying to do a Holler House couple songs at the Dash release, but it's too hard.
Fair.
That's weird. I'm just like
Are
remembering.
you
the lyrics.
blushing over here?
I just haven't heard this. Like when the records press, we were like, and you know, we had like a cool, got a bunch of cool press and good, like the label like sent a bunch out and it felt really good. And then it felt fun. We have a lot of records. And
I
I
brought
got
some if you want
Yeah.
some.
Oh,
You guys, I see you have turntables.
yeah. I
You
don't know
use
if they
them?
work.
No?
yeah, but we brought some records if you guys
Yeah,
want to
sure,
take them
yeah,
home or
yeah.
whatever.
That's where sometimes I'm like, well, if I leave it here, will a kid take it? Because that would be a good thing.
Yeah.
My daughter used to have a radio show in Winnipeg, and I would bring all the CDs that people sent me
Yeah.
up to Winnipeg. So I'm like, there you go, little
That's
trans.
I like that.
Did you ever get searched at the border with black market CDs across the border?
Too much Katie Vernon. You must leave that. Yeah, no. The only time, and my dad and I would often go and pick up the girls. The only time we got stopped is coming in the country. Somebody had broken the window and broken into my dad's car the night before.
Oh no.
And black interior, blue passports. They didn't take the passports.
Really?
We got through and we're both like, I don't know.
The next song starts like instantly, so watch out.
You can probably.
Oh, I'm good at this.
Ooh,
Nice cut.
that was a big switch from one song to the other. We nailed it. We nailed it. It's fun to see you guys enjoy hearing that song from
Yeah, it's been a while.
yesteryear.
Yeah. Well, and and again, it's cool because like 3 of the 4 of us in Dashed were playing these songs like a lot, like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
So it's cool to hear back in on it, and again, like 5 years ago, man, there were so many bands that we loved that aren't doing it anymore.
Yeah.
But then they turn into these
Something.
very cool bands now. I think, it's been really fun to sort of hear our friends' new music and like new bands, new approaches, and then to get opportunities to play with them. Yeah, I think like we probably mentioned Deep Fakes already once, but they're very good friends of ours. They share a practice space with them, and it's like members of my first band in town, the Nina the Pinta, and then members of the Umbrella Sequence, which was around 20 years ago, and then
So when he's, I'm like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
oh yeah,
and then their drummer was in Blind Shake,
oh,
and
that's one that
That's a
I.
good one.
yeah, and so like we just love deepfakes, and they're. How would you describe deepfakes? Like I think we call them. I think I've described them as like. They will probably hate me saying this, but it's like if like Bruce Springsteen met like some sort of like really cool electronic.
I think that's how they describe
thing.
themselves.
Yeah.
Actually,
Nice.
I think it's okay.
But so it feels kind of like high tech Americana or something
Yeah,
like
there-
that.
that's
I don't know.
Oh, I like that.
It's
I
really
like
cool,
Americana.
but then they're just loud as heck, and I mean they've got a good stage show, and so again it's just like these are all the dorks we used to play with 25 years ago, you know, and now we're you know they're kicking butt in different ways that we probably would have never guessed. Yeah.
Well, and I mean, obviously COVID had a huge part of it, but it's like the wishy part of the dandelion blows away. You lose the flower, but you get so much more.
Yeah.
You know, and there's a little bit of the old in the new.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and then, you know, of course, the venues do the same thing too, where you're just like, look at all these cool people who like saw what maybe didn't go so right at the venues.
Yeah.
And like they just want to make it better for the bands and for the customers and, you know, concert goers. Yeah.
Well, and I think people, well, I mean, especially right when things opened up, we were so appreciative of, I'd be like, 2 4-year-olds singing. I'll pay $20. I'm down. You know. But and everyone I would go to see, and I was lucky enough to see a lot of shows very early. Oh, my voice is terrible. I'm like, nobody cares. You know, I'm like, I mean, you know, we're so thankful that you're here, and it's a muscle. And if you haven't sung in front of people for a while, you're gonna sound different. It's not bad. It's just not what you were thinking it was gonna. You know, it was just. But yeah, I think that's.
It was interesting because I think people really started showing up in this town like when you didn't like it was almost like I wouldn't say anyone was taking anything for granted pre-COVID, but now it's like folks are really showing up like in really supportive ways. I work at a brewery now, Folly Knife Brewing. I'm going to plug them because they're very nice. They're very nice to our band too. But I was working at a brewery before then during COVID. And it was harder on that brewery, and they've closed since. But the neighborhood in Northeast came out every day and just chugged crawlers in the empty parking lot across the street because they couldn't go inside. Like it's like they knew that they could take beer to go, and they're like, let's just like put a folding chair out in the empty parking lot and drink this beer on this beautiful summer day and just like. Keep our distance or whatever, and it was like it brought out in some really strange ways like the best in our community. And I, you know, not to get overly political, but I hope people are holding on to those values now because we kind of need it, you know, more than ever to like keep supporting like the really special stuff in this town. Like we don't want that to go away.
No, we don't.
No,
we don't. No, Oh yeah, you can go as political as you want, because I have my posters right here.
Oh, yeah.
You say whatever. But I mean, I do, because I live very near here, the Groveland Tap, they just put up picnic tables in their parking lot.
Yeah.
And that's where but it wasn't, and then you got to know your neighbors in a way that you don't get to know your neighbors unless you have small children. And once you have small children, and some folks have alluded kids, then you know the people who live near you, because kids take forever to get into the car for no other reason. You're standing there for 20 minutes, you know. But yeah, and all of a sudden you get to meet people in a very different way. Should we play another song?
Sure. We should play Grenadine. I don't know if you have the edit.
Is it in what you sent Anne?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We could do something else if
no.
It's tricky.
And
But that's like the single. We don't really know how to release music that well. Seems like you tease singles little by little, and then boom, here's the album.
All the young bands know exactly what to do, and we are just like, we've got music, now what? You know, like we know to play it, but like, you know, everyone has these tactics of how to release music and like have custom like, you know, artwork that like coincides with that release, and then all of a sudden your Spotify account is full of singles, and then you have to combine them all into an album or something, and we're just like, oh my gosh, okay, let's play along. So this was our first let's play along, that makes it sound stupid, but like this was our first single that we released. I think, did we release this in January,
Yeah.
and we kind of teased our album with this song.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
It's coming.
Yeah.
Grenadine by Dashed, who are in studio. I know this is going to take a second,
Oh,
so
Nope, we're good. Maybe.
maybe. Okay, tell us a little bit more about it. Yeah, it'll be
one
10
of the
seconds.
first
Yeah.
songs that we wrote.
This arguably is the first.
And
song.
I think it encapsulates what we're trying to do, and we play a theremin on it.
All right.
I love
And
theremin.
We have like a theremin competition
Oh.
in the studio. Like who could do? Because I think like Kent, our guitar player, has always been our, that friend with the theremin. So we're just like, oh, we're
He's the only person
obviously.
I know that owns a theremin.
Yeah,
I think there's only like 3 people in the world.
Well, I did like that we said that, like, we all were like, oh, yeah, that friend, you have him, and he's got a theremin. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
That
so
would
we
be
thought, so
awesome.
Kent brought it, and he's like, I bet I'll do pretty good. And we're like, well, I don't know what I'm doing. But I bet I can make some funny sounds, too. And so we kind of had a competition of, like, who's going to make it on the track. Like,
But he can hit
He hits
actual notes
yeah.
with it. So there's a part where he's hitting the right notes, and then there's a part where it doesn't really matter what you do, just make noise. And we all took a crack at it, and I'm not exactly sure whose take we made it to the album.
Well, and the
So
question
listen for
would be,
that.
how... So let's pretend that gun to my head, I had to do a competition like this sort. What's the key? Like, what do you...
Nobody
Do you
knows
try
how
to
play
sweat,
guitar.
not sweat, be close, be
it's sort
not?
of, well, so
Shake your hips while you do it?
we were like, it's like a build-up part at the end, and we were like, the more chaotic, the better. So,
Okay.
like, how silly can you move your hands around for 20 seconds to make the best noises? Some theremin, like connoisseur is like hitting their head right now, listening to us. Like, you guys don't even know, but like we don't know.
No.
But we have fun. We have fun in the studio.
I,
It was great.
it does sound like fun.
Yeah.
All right, and now we're set up.
Yes.
Grenadine by Dashed.
Thanks for
I
that.
really don't know whose take we took.
I think Tony said it was mine, but I don't know if he knows. I think he might have been trying to shut us up about it. Maybe he like combined them all to make it.
That would be the-
He did it. He did it his way by just pasting it all together, and it sounded great.
That would be fun. I've always wanted to. Little Lizard, they have a theremin. I try to be
Yeah.
nice. I try to be nice to them.
Do they? Do they play? They play live and everything too?
Yeah,
Oh.
they have some great videos. But yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think of the last time. I think I saw Liz play with someone. But yeah, they.
Okay, that's cool. Cause like that just sounds like the scariest thing to try and make a theremin sound good live to someone. Like,
They're. I mean, they have their songs for sure, but they're very open to the experimental too. So you get, if you.
I mean, I suppose that makes sense. You just like, we'll just make it sound cool. Yeah.
Well, and it's just how much you want to roll with the punches on something like,
Yeah. Do you think? Would we have time to play one more song?
Yeah.
Before we're kind of let you guys.
before
do
we
your
kick
thing?
you out.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Should we
What do you
play it
wanna-
like a Tuesday or something?
You swear on Tuesday also.
Do I?
Yeah.
Yeah. Or should we do N question mark?
Well, now you know the drill to have it come up.
Yeah, if you guys are talking
Yeah,
about it, I love
if you
it.
got.
Well, we don't have a radio edit for that.
Oh, well, then we.
Yeah.
Night Ocean, but it's like 4 minutes. It's kind of a
Let's
long
do
one.
N question mark because it's the surfiest side of us. We always.
Sure.
Well, and that's without vocals, so it's.
Oh, nice.
Don't have to worry about that swearing part. That seems always sneak in.
We got a real FU vibe from that one. I'm not sure.
Yeah, the vibe is very FU. It's just that you're allowed to play on the radio. But yeah, I'm bad at not swearing. Even
Yeah.
live, like on stage, I'm just like,
It,
I'm bad at it. My kids are used to it. They're nice about it. They're like, don't worry, Dad, we won't swear. I'm like, thank you.
that's I used to get those are mama words.
When we watch RuPaul's Drag Race, that
Yeah.
Lana will make sure to say, "And don't fuck it up."
Yeah.
We're like, we'll allow it if she says it at the same time as RuPaul, but just don't like repeat it after.
Right.
Those are the rules in the house. Like, you're allowed to swear if you're singing a song along with the song,
Right.
or
But not too long.
yeah, but like not never two people.
I used to say it's okay as an adjective, not as a verb.
Yeah. Actually, I like.
Yeah. That was safe.
She's on grammar too, so there you go.
I know exactly. Always be about the teachable. Always be about the teachable. Yeah. I was the one who swore horribly. But my ex is from Dublin and like, you know, the Irish. He always got the blame for them swearing.
I feel like we just gave up on swearing. And I have a 14-year-old and an 11-year-old. And I've tried pretty hard. And now they've heard, you know, I listen
Yeah.
to music and they'll hear music, but we're watching Cobra Kai
All right.
and we're just like, fuck it.
Fuck.
It doesn't matter. They know.
It's
And they're not using it, but they know.
I was gonna say it's almost like about like responsibly telling them how it works
Yes.
instead of like obviously don't go to your grandparents and start throwing it around.
Right.
Like, they taught me how to swear, but like yeah, but like don't be mean.
Yeah.
Or no, be intentional. If don't just throw it around.
right.
Anyways, this is the end of the song. We won't swear anymore.
Switching subjects.
Yeah.
Grenadine by Dashed, who we have in studio.
I'm Mike, the drummer.
I'm Alan, the bass player.
Perfect. We're off radio. We're talking about swearing and kids and all the interesting things. What would your little kid self say to you now that you've got an album? You know, you've got albums in your hands and you're playing. Or what would you say to that little kid to get him where you are?
Wow.
I know
That's a
my
tough one.
my little version would be like really excited for me. I like well, and again, because like I mentioned that my dad was was always in bands, and you know I remember being that like 6th grader, like hoping to figure out how to like make an instrument sound cool and like struggling. And my twin brother played drums and was like he figured drumming out so quickly, and I was like. And so when I finally started learning how to play bass and it felt like I could do stuff, it was neat. And I think little Al would be like really into the punk music that we're playing. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea. I've
Well,
been
from
in
a-
bands for my whole life, really, like playing drums, and I was in like concert band. So I don't know. I'm proud to still be doing it, and hopefully people care that we're putting out stuff. But yeah, I'm proud of still being in a band. Yeah.
Well, and I'm making an assumption that I shouldn't necessarily make because you went to school in Fargo.
Uh-huh.
That it was probably not a huge school.
It was.
Was I mean I was gonna say
Yeah.
I could be very wrong
My
in that.
high school, Fargo's like has big high schools. It's kind of like.
That's right. It's not that.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I tried to do sports and stuff, but I ended up just being a punk and skateboarding, which was better for me, I think.
Yeah.
I remember that time in high school when like my punk band was, I feel like I always tell this story, but now I'm telling it on the radio, but I was in high school and I played baseball. I was on the baseball team and there was a game or something, and I asked my coach like, hey, my punk band's auditioning for the talent show. And we went back and forth, and I was basically set with the ultimatum, like, you have to choose.
Like,
He
right,
said
yeah.
this. You have to
Oh.
choose if you want to be in a punk band or if you want to play baseball. And I was like,
It's like a movie.
it
Yeah,
was. It
yeah.
was like, it was
Yeah.
like the hard zoom, like on my eyes while I'm thinking about it.
The 1 bead of sweat.
Yeah, but you know, in the end, it was really easy. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna play music. And I didn't start, I think there were maybe like 5 more games in the year, and I didn't play in any of them anymore. I was like a bench warmer, and I quit baseball that year. And
Look at you now, man.
now look
Yeah.
at me.
Yeah.
I'd like be like, look at me, coach. What's your name? But I forgot his name already.
That's the best.
Yeah.
Can't even remember his name
That's
now.
the best reward. I don't have to think about that.
Don't
anymore.
even. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I always think because there's such a push for doing sports, and I swam, but I did. You know, they should lean more into some of the arts because that is something you're likely to do for your whole life. You know,
Yeah.
only so many people play baseball past a certain age.
Yeah.
I mean, and God love the ones who do, and it's good to be physically fit and all of that. But I
Yeah.
think things that you can, you can play guitar with people or by yourself. You can anywhere. You know, I think that that especially can lead to some good mental health. The
Well,
times we've been talking about.
We talk, my partner Jules is an artist, is an incredible artist, and we talk often about like the types of things that like keep us, I guess, like contained in art, and it's those like rules. So like I remember when I was playing a lot of sports, and you know what, I still play soccer on like as a and. You know, in my age, I can still run around a lot, and I like that. But it doesn't feel like it did in high school, where it was like
Yeah.
so rule driven, and you were trying to like get to that point above that other guy, and then win games against those strange kids from the other town.
Yeah.
And like it felt like it's about like pushing people away, right? And it's like about like trying to like individualize your experience and like win at something, and that's just like not what creativity is at all. Yeah, or at least the right type of creativity.
Right.
I guess if you're
Right.
on like a reality show trying to like be the best tattoo artist or something like that, that's like different. But like
Yeah.
it's like music shouldn't be competitive, art shouldn't be competitive, and I that did a lot for my my brain as a youngster. And like when I came to college here in Minneapolis, like the next year, I like felt a lot freer,
Yeah.
thinking I didn't have to like have some like math teacher who was like my baseball coach like tell me what to do anymore. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was cool. It's cool to be creative.
There's a freedom to it.
Yeah.
There's absolutely freedom to it. Shall we play one more song?
Yeah. Let's end it with N question mark,
Sure.
which I guess you said, did we the right way? Like, did we? And there's a question mark
Yeah.
in that, but we don't
Did we?
say N. We say M question mark. Anyways, it's the surfiest of our tracks, and it's the lyric free. Just kind of like crank through it. It's like really inspired by maybe we're very influenced by this band called Man or Astro Man that's been playing noisy, chaotic surf music for decades as well. And so this was kind of like how we wrote that song. It's like, let's make one like them.
All right, let's
Yeah.
hear it.
Should be going.
It's my fault. I fucked up.
It sounds noisy anyways.
No, I just make sure I've got that. Yeah. Well, I like to fuck up one thing every show. Nailed it.
You wouldn't be human if you didn't fuck something every
Yeah,
day.
exactly.
Yeah.
I love when I listen to the current and it's silent for like 30 seconds. I'm like, yes, yes.
They're human too.
They're getting paid for that.
I listen to a lot of Radio K, and of course,
Oh.
that's like there's like minutes sometimes of dead air.
Or just like when you can tell like the DJ. I listen to a lot of Radio K too. It's just the first button I press, but like these kids are so funny because they just start talking about nothing. And you
Yes.
can tell that maybe it's their stream of consciousness while they're like fidgeting. With,
Yeah,
like, CDs
yes,
or
yes.
something.
Which I have some, yeah.
Yeah, but it's like, to me, it's like really.
I like how their whole campaign is embracing that awkwardness of college DJ.
Or
Mispronouncing band names since
Yeah.
1983. It's
Yeah.
just like my daughter wrote a radio show in Winnipeg, and this one is Suxy and the Banshees. I call her immediately. I'm like, Susie Pumpkin. It's Susie and the Banshees. You know, and I just said, you know,
It's so good.
yeah.
That's one of the maybe the best one.
It's just really like. So you would get a lot of helpful tips from me and from my mom. I'm like, she's like, I'm not going to do the show anymore if you and Grandma are going to be bragging up on me and my grammar.
Grandma's ragging on me all
I
the time.
agree.
I think that's great.
Oh. All right, after this, we'll probably wrap her up so we can do the weird things we.
Cool.
Yeah, thanks so much for having us.
Thanks. This was
coming in.
super
Yeah.
fun.
Glad
I'm
to
so glad
jump
this
in.
worked out.
Yeah, I mean, this is the first time our band's. I've never done anything like this.
Oh,
is
this was
good.
super fun, super easy.
Yeah, because I've done it for like work and things like that, but this is fun. This is
Yeah.
funner because it's about like, personal.
Yeah.
Our stuff, you know.
Yeah, you can talk for sure.
Oh, I know. I can
So
talk.
I was like, oh, easy. You got it.
We're gonna go home and I'm not gonna say a word to her for the rest of the day. It's good for you because you like to talk too.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say as if that's gonna happen, but also like, yay, it's the Jules show.
So there's gonna be, yeah. Promises.
Yeah, I gotta hold you to this.
Dashed. Thank you for being here. Thank you so much.
Yes. Thanks for having
We're
us.
very stoked to have participated. Thank
Yes. Remind us when the show is. What?
The record release is at Cloudland on Saturday, April 19th with Lutheran Heat and Tight Whips, all local bands.
Is that an 18+ show or not?
I don't
I
know.
bet it's 21 plus.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
21
just
plus,
want-
I'm pretty sure.
But
Yeah.
I would say go to Cloudland's web stuff.
Yes.
Because they're very great, and then go see all their other shows too.
Well, right. Well, and because it's fairly close. It's a long walk, but it's a walking distance from here because I've done it.
Yeah,
You know.
okay.
But yeah, so just across the Lake Street Bridge, maybe a
Actually-
mile, maybe.
I keep forgetting how connected St. Paul is to Lake Street.
Yeah.
Or East Lake.
Yeah.
Oh.
So just walk down there, and there are many 18+ shows for if you're not 21, and yeah, and it's a great bands like yourselves. So we will look
you.
forward to that show, and thank you.
Yeah,
No, we appreciate it.
thanks.
All right, are we back to what should we hear next?
Yeah.
Music about water.
Yeah, let's do Running to Beat the Waves by Mean Magic. There we go.
Perfect.
All right, finish this.